This is my story about my amazing positive home birth. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I have not uploaded in a long time because I was pregnant and chasing after a 3.5-year-old, and I just didn't really have the time to upload. But I really wanted to make this video because I just gave birth to our daughter and we ended up having a home birth. And I wanted to make this video because leading up to my home birth, I watched so many YouTube videos about positive home births, and that's really what pushed me to feel confident and to finally make that decision and move forward with the whole process. So if you are considering a home birth, or you're just interested in what they're like and why I chose to do this, then this video is for you guys. So mostly it's for those of you who want to have a home birth, who might be questioning everything about it, or maybe you're scared and you just don't know much about it. I hope you learn a lot from this video. First, I'll start off explaining why I decided to have a home birth. So I had my son, he's 3.5 now. He was born in 2017 and we had him at the hospital. That was an all-natural, unmedicated birth. I have a video about that whole process. I'll link that up here if you want to check that out. From what I knew back then, I thought that everything was fine and everything happened the way it was supposed to. I didn't really know much about labor and delivery at that point. I was very naive. I just, went into labor, went to the hospital and just kind of let them do their thing, and I followed their lead. I had midwives at the hospital, but he was born, it was fine. And in that moment, it was like the second he was born, something inside me, inside my heart and inside my brain was like, the next time you do this, the next time you give birth, you are doing this at home. And I can't really explain where that voice came from or why I felt like I had to do it at home, because I had never looked into home births. I never looked into it, nothing. So after he was born and everything was fine, thank God, I had that voice in my head. So 3 years go by and we decide to get pregnant again. When I got pregnant with my daughter, this was back in October. She was just born in June. I was like, we're doing this at home. And it was still such that strong feeling and such a strong voice telling me that this is something I needed to do for myself. And I'll get into all of that in a little bit. So I made the decision to do it at home. And it was not a confident decision. It wasn't even an educated decision at that point. It was just something that I knew I had to do and I wanted to do it. I was terrified. I was so scared. And the entire time, even up until I was in labor, I kept saying to myself, what if this was the wrong choice? What if I am just an idiot and thought I could do this, but now something really bad is going to happen, and what if it's all my fault because I chose to have her at home? I had those thoughts the whole time I was pregnant. But luckily, right when I decided to have a home birth, I just kind of miraculously came across someone else I knew who had just had one. So I reached out to them and I was like, please tell me everything that happened. I need to know who you hired, how it went, how you felt, were you scared like I am? And I asked this person millions and millions of questions. She made me feel a lot better. And then after that, I did a ton of research and I found a very reputable company in my area, and it is a team of midwives, and what they do is deliver babies at home. It's what they're known for. It's what they've been doing for years, and they are just so educated on it, and it's just second nature to them, and it's so normal to them. They're like, this is what we do. Births can happen at home. You shouldn't be scared, all that stuff. So I hired them, and instead of going to my OB and my other doctor throughout the whole process of me being pregnant with my daughter, I left my practice. I left the practice I was at. I'll say this too, I lied to them and I didn't tell them that I was gonna give a home birth. I didn't tell anyone because I didn't want anyone to know, and I'll get into that too. So I left my practice. I was pregnant. I just lied to them and I said, I'm going to another practice because I want to deliver at a different hospital. I'd made up some bullshit lie. I didn't want the backlash from them. I didn't want them to tell me that I shouldn't do it. I didn't want them to give me their opinion. So I left the practice and I joined this group of midwives. Every visit up until I gave birth was with them. And in every visit, I said to them, who do I think I am? Do I really think I can do this? Can I do this? Am I an idiot for thinking that I can just give birth to a baby in my house? And everything they said to me and the experience I had with them really helped give me the confidence that I needed to go into labor and delivery feeling like, yes, this is normal, and yes, this is okay. I'll just tell you quickly about my labor and then kind of get into more of the backstory. I was pregnant, the time came, she was born the day before her due date, but I went into labor. I was sitting in my house with my husband. I had just put my son to bed, which was awesome because I did have fears that I would just go into labor one day when we were at the beach or one day when we were at the park and he would be awake in the house freaking out because I was in labor. But luckily I put him to bed. It was 9 o'clock at night, and the second I sat down on the couch to relax and watch a show, I started to get cramps. And I knew from before that this was it. They were so familiar, they were so strong. And I looked at my husband and I was like, this is happening. It's happening right now. I texted my midwife team because they had said to me, the second you feel any symptoms, let us know and we'll come to your house. I texted them and I said, I'm in labor, this is happening. So they said, all right, text us when it gets stronger, when your contractions get a little closer. 2 minutes later, my contractions are 2 minutes apart. So I texted them, I said, you need to get here now. They raced over, and in our bedroom we had a birth pool that they had brought with them one of the visits a few weeks before. So we had the birth pool set up in our bedroom, and my husband had connected a hose from our shower into the birth tub. They were filling up the tub as I was in labor. I was leaning over the bed oh my God, this hurts so bad, hurry up. And they set everything up. They did everything they needed to do. So I got in the tub. It was like she was born immediately. I went into labor at 9 o'clock at night and she was born at 12 a.m. It was a precipitous labor, birth, whatever you want to call it, super fast. And it was crazy and it was amazing. And I still, to this day, can't believe I did it. But what made me go forward with this whole thing and what gave me the confidence to just do it, which is not like me at all. Some people might disagree, but I am not a super strong person inside. On the outside, I might seem like it, but inside I am anxious, I'm scared, I'm always saying, what if this happens? What if this happens? I never really have full confidence in my own decisions. So it was very unlike me to take this and say, this is what I'm going to do, when it involved my life and the life of my daughter. That was something that was just totally out of character for me to just say, I'm gonna do this. I did it. I gave birth to her. And I will say that it will always be the most amazing thing I've ever done in my entire life. There's nothing else that I can do in this life, in this lifetime, that will trump that experience. And in that moment, and even afterwards, it taught me and showed me how strong of a person I actually am. It actually helped me become more confident with who I am to my core. I almost became my most authentic self the moment she was born, because it was this is who I am. I am a home birth type of person. I'm an earthy, crunchy mom. And that was something I never really wanted to talk about or admit. And I maybe didn't even want to be that person at one point in my life, but now it was I can't deny this anymore. This is who I am. I wanted to have her out in the woods. I was this just feels so biologically necessary and normal to me to just have her at home in the comfort of my own home, that kind of pushed me to go forward with it. It was just incredible. To this day, I still can feel it. In that moment, I will always remember what that felt like to me. And so after she was born, we were home and my son was still asleep. It was, again, 12 o'clock in the morning. We just got into bed. It was crazy because we weren't at the hospital. There weren't bright lights shining in our faces. We didn't have doctors coming in and out of the room. I was able to give birth the way I wanted to. I was able to make my own decisions around everything. And the midwives were really just there to support me. But we were home, we were in bed. That night they stayed for a couple more hours. I had 3 midwives there. They stayed, and then they eventually went home. And then in the morning, my son woke up and he came into our room. I had prepped him ahead of time. I had said to him, you might wake up one morning and your sister might be here. Because I told him the whole time, she's being born at home. So he came in our room. He was sleepy and in a bad mood. And he kind of just looked at us and looked over the bed, and I said, guess what happened last night? And he said, what? And I said, your sister came. So he was super excited. He jumped up on the bed. He was kissing her and hugging her. And that whole experience too was amazing because we didn't have to have somebody come and stay with him while we were in the hospital. And who knows how many days we would have had to be in the hospital. But we didn't have to deal with any of that. We were able to just be in our home with our son and have that full experience as a family. So that was another plus side to this whole thing. That's kind of like the basic gist of it all. So she was born at home. It was the best experience of my life. And my message to you guys, if you are considering a home birth and you are a healthy person, you are having a healthy pregnancy, there are no complications, you're not at risk for anything. If you want to have a home birth, have a home birth. Make sure that you do your research. You want to be connected to good midwives. There are a lot of people who do this unassisted. I don't think I would do that still. If we had another child, I would do another home birth, hands down, no questions asked, but I would still do it with a midwife team. So if you want to do this, do it. Like I said, do your research, find a good team, and educate yourself on labor and delivery and birth. It's not something that we need to fear. And I think in our society especially, women have been made to fear labor and delivery. Because if you think about all the births that you've seen on TV or in the movies, there is this woman lying in this hospital bed, like strapped down, screaming as loud as she possibly can. And you see that and you're like, why would anyone ever do that? I'm never gonna do that. And that makes sense. If you think that it's gonna be that scary, and if you're terrified to get pregnant and to give birth, then it will be scary. You're gonna make your body react in a way that makes it scary, makes it hurt more. It just won't be good. But what we need to now know and understand as women is how powerful and magical and miraculous our bodies are, and how magical the labor and delivery process is. You can give birth at home because giving birth is one of the most normal and natural things in the entire world. It's been going on forever. Yes, there are complications, and yes, people have awful, horrible, traumatic experiences, and I'm not trying to downplay any of that or disrespect anyone who had an awful experience. That's horrible, and my heart goes out to those people. But if you're healthy and you are not at risk for anything, yes, something bad can still happen when you're in labor. But if you have a good team with you, like my team said to me, I had asked them, what if I'm in labor and what if something bad happens? What if she's born and she's not breathing? Or I asked millions of questions. They said to me, we're so trained and we've done this so many times that we're able to tell before something really bad happens. We can pick up on the small signs and say, you need to go to the hospital now before this gets worse. So I put my confidence in them because they knew way more than I did. Again, if this is something you want to do, if it's something you feel so strongly about, and if you're healthy and your pregnancy is healthy and you have the resources and the team and the knowledge and education to do this, do it. If anything, do it for yourself like I did, because it's going to show you who you really are as a person, and it's going to show you what you're capable of as a woman and as a mother. And it was very similar to my hospital experience, my natural unmedicated birth with my son, where after you give birth, you truly feel like you can do anything in the entire world. And that feeling stays with you for a long time. But the home birth experience was completely transformational for me. I know that I can do anything I want to do now. I know that if I put my mind to something and I do it, I'm going to make it happen. So the biggest message that I can give you is, again, to do your research and to take the fear and the uncertainty and the questions that you have while you're pregnant, take that and channel it and figure out, where is this fear coming from? Is this a logical fear? Am I being irrational? Or is this a logical fear that I can just talk about with my midwife team? Can they help to minimize this fear? Can they make me feel better around whatever it is that I'm worried about? And do not let other people make this decision for you. That is why we didn't tell anyone what our plan was, because I know most people would have said to me, that's a bad idea, you're an idiot, what if something bad happens? And they would have made me start to second guess myself. So we didn't tell anyone. I didn't even tell my parents because I just didn't want anyone to be afraid for me. I needed to go into labor and delivery without internalizing anyone else's thoughts, fears, or emotions. I had to just go in with my own mindset and my own emotions and my own confidence around the whole thing. That might be what's best for you. Maybe you shouldn't tell anybody. Maybe you have in-laws or friends or other family members who will judge you and make you feel like you shouldn't do this. Know who those people are in your life and don't tell them. You don't have to tell people what your birthing plan is. You don't have to have people in the room with you. You don't have to invite people there. You need to do what works for you. This is such an amazing, private, magical moment in your life that you have to create, and you have to say, this is my space and these are the people who are allowed in my space at this time. These are the people who I want to know what I'm doing. These are the people who, I'll tell them what happened after she's born. You have to create that space for yourself. You can't let other people dictate what your birth experience is going to be like. Another helpful thing for you would be to join some home birth groups on Facebook. I was in those groups the whole time I was pregnant, and I just kept reading positive story after positive story and watching positive video after positive video. Because when you realize that other people can do this, you're like, oh, then I can do this too. Get into those groups, talk to these people who've had these experiences, ask questions. And even now, so my daughter's 6 weeks old at this point, I'm still in those groups. And what I'm seeing now is from the lens of the other side, having done it, I'm seeing all these people ask these questions like, can I really do this? My mother-in-law is telling me I shouldn't do this, all of this stuff. And I so badly want to just take a piece of my experience and my confidence and give it to every single person who's questioning themselves. Because if I continued to question myself, and if I let other people convince me that I couldn't do that, I wouldn't have done it. And I never, ever would have experienced that moment in my life, which will be forever the most incredible thing that I've ever done, the most incredible thing that's ever happened to me. So I wanted to share this story with you guys, and I didn't want to make it too long, but it's probably longer than I wanted it to be. But I wanted to share this with you guys because the people that I watched truly helped me. And I would love to answer all of your questions and give you the confidence that you need. Obviously, I want you to make the best medical decisions. I'm not saying just go have a home birth because you feel like it. You have to know that you are set up to do it physically, mentally, emotionally, all of that stuff. So please, if you guys are considering a home birth, leave me a comment below. I want to connect with you. I want to talk about this. And it's not to say like, oh, look what I did. I want to educate people, and I want you to know that you can do this. If there's even one person that I can help to make this decision so you have the best experience of your life, that will make me happy. So please, please reach out to me if you have questions. If you guys like this video, go ahead and click the thumbs up button down below, click subscribe, and I'm going to look at all of your questions and all of that stuff, and I'll make more videos off of this video because I couldn't really cover everything in one video. I didn't want it to be super, super long. Again, let me know if you have questions. I'm so happy to talk to you guys and to answer your questions. And that is pretty much it. So I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.